Hey everyone, it's Cam from Arsenal Theory here. Sorry it's been so long since the last video. It's been all hands on deck at the Theory House in the last week or so. Unfortunately, been people in hospital, night shifts, very stressful, and it's not over yet either. So doing a little Sunday night barbecue, and hopefully I'm not interrupted. Should be able to get a video out about the disaster that is Arsenal Football Club. So it's all over. Obviously it was over against Brighton, and we were looking to have a good finish to the season, and that all ended yesterday. Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0. I was not surprised at what happened yesterday, but I did kind of think that we would get a result, purely based on the fact that they beat us at their ground a couple of seasons ago in the FA Cup. They knocked us out. So I would have thought that the club would have wanted, or the players would have wanted some kind of revenge, but just to get one back over on them. And we just did not show up at all. And it really raises some big questions to me, because the end of season it's just been a huge collapse. It's just been a complete collapse, bottle job. Whatever the fans are, the opposition fans are saying about us is pretty much spot on. There's a clip going around online on Gary Neville saying how, this was like quite a few months ago, but he was saying how City are going to win the league by about 10 points. He said basically what's going to happen is Arsenal are going to be in front, you're going to get to the final stretch, they'll beat you at the Etihad, they'll reel you in, and you'll just collapse. And it's exactly what's happened. I was thinking that over the last kind of 20 years or so, since we last won a league, really, which is about 20 years ago, I've never really trusted one team that we've had since then. I've always had certain suspicions about the team, be it the defensive capabilities, the switching off, the individual errors, just all that kind of stuff, not enough goal threat. And the various teams have had various aspects of those kind of deficiencies. No leadership, midfield kind of general, all that kind of stuff. And those problems have been littered throughout several of the Arsenal teams over the last 20 years. And each time I've had those suspicions, you hear people that go, oh no, that's not true, there's this, there's that, you're overreacting. But ultimately, I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all, because I'm definitely not. But each suspicion I've had about all those teams has turned out pretty much to be true. And with this team, I always had the suspicion that you couldn't trust them. You just couldn't necessarily trust them to turn up when they really needed to, when the pressure was on. And that's been 2 seasons in a row now. In fact, I can't even remember the last time we actually had a good finish to the season. It's been at least 2 years, because last year we had a terrible end. This year we got a terrible end. The year before that couldn't have been great, because we didn't qualify for Europe, so that would have been an 8th place finish, so that must have been an awful finish as well. So very disappointing. I think the manager's making some real weird moves with the team yesterday. Like, after everything, he's now decided to move Ben White to centre back for a game, brought Kiwior in at left back. Tierney didn't start. I don't know if that's because Tierney's going, but we still had 3 points to win. It's like, I'm not looking at having an eye on next season yet, if I was a player, nor should the manager either. So anyone that kind of doubts the mental fragility or the mental agility of this team, no one should be offended by that kind of comment thrown at us. because it's just been individual mistakes. Odegaard again, giving the ball away, bang, punished. Just individual errors. And there's no guarantee that that will get ironed out over the next year or so. I think that the lack of leadership is really, really showing. We've got a team of good professionals, I think, but where are the actual leaders? And the reason the leaders are so important is like yesterday. Okay, we've lost the league, but we've still got a pride to play for. Fans are still paying to see the games, and we need to get back to winning ways as soon as possible because it was unacceptable against Brighton. There was no leadership. There was no leadership from anyone there. Not from the manager, not from the captain, not from the senior pros. So that's very, very disappointing. And it's something that I think could be aimed at us a lot over the last 20 years, which is a very long time. It's a very long period. It's a lot of different team cycles you have in that time. So yeah, just quite gutting really, and everyone's laughing at us, pointing their fingers at us, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them, because if you'd been United had done what we'd done, or Liverpool, or Spurs, I would be I'd be saying exactly the same stuff. I'd be going, yeah, you bunch of bottle jobs. You couldn't handle the pressure when it came on. The pressure's off now. The league's over. We couldn't handle it. We couldn't do the business when the pressure was off, and we couldn't do the business when the pressure was on. So I don't know. Make of that what you will. I know people think it's overreacting, but I really do question the manager over the last final quarter of the season. We had a really incredible first 3 quarters, and it just feels like we've undone all our hard work, which we haven't, because we've got second. We're back in the Champions League now. But I think the club, I don't know if the club's got like an identity crisis, but it needs to kind of figure out, what do we want to be here? What is it we're looking to do? And they need to act accordingly. If it's to be with the big boys, then they're going to need to invest. You know, there's talk of a lot of players leaving, an awful lot of players. And I mean, Xhaka, the news came out last week that looks like Xhaka's going to Borussia Mönchengladbach, so he'll be gone. And he's one of our most ever-present players. I don't mind getting rid of him, but that's going to be a player down. Reece Nelson will be a player down. Tierney will be going. Holding will be going. I think they'd get rid of Thomas Partey if they could, but I don't think they're going to be able to. Then you've got these rumours about Emil Smith-Rowe, which I hate, because I just feel like he's not been given a chance. Really not been given a chance. Should have been brought on yesterday instead of Vieira, but it's happened now. Tomiyasu apparently is out to September, so we're not going to be able to get rid of him, even though we should do. But that's 7 players there, and our squad's thin enough as it is. So I don't see us signing like 10 players in the summer window. So I'm not feeling particularly rosy about where everything's going at the moment. However, I haven't had much sleep the last few days. So I'm getting eaten alive by the spiders, insects, there's all sorts of stuff out here. I've got foxes that have moved in as well. My dog is somewhere around here trying to hunt them down. So very, very, like I said, very, very disappointing. The players should be embarrassed. A complete ineptitude, a complete lack of professionalism, taking the fucking piss, basically. Just taking the piss. And, you know, if they don't beat Wolves in the final game of the season, they're going to get booed off, and rightly so if that's what happens. Because what was the point? What was the point of putting in all that hard work just to piss it away at the end like that. Okay, you can't win the league. That's fine. Still finish strong. But that's not, these players, they're just not made that way. I don't think they're made that way, and I'll be honest, I don't think you can train it. I think you've either got it or you haven't. I heard a stat yesterday that when Arsenal, the season before Arsenal went unbeaten, we'd lost the league to United, and the next game was against Southampton, and we beat them like 6-1 or 7-1 or something, and that was the first win in a run of 49 undefeated games. So they'd lost the league, but they went, stuff that, we're still going to do the business, and they stepped up. I hate being that kind of fan that's always going on about old teams and previous iterations and stuff, but you look at those, you compare it to those teams because those teams were successful, so you know what you need to have in order to be successful, and you can't compare it. You can't compare the likes of Vieira, Henry, Ashley Cole, Martin Keown, Gilberto, Pires, Ljungberg, Bergkamp, just all that mentality, strength, mental strength. You can't, none of these lot can match up to that at the moment. And I'm not sure whether they can grow into it either. Because like I said, I don't know if it's something that you can teach or learn. And even our experienced players though, the ones that have won championships like Jesus and Zinchenko, they've not helped. So the experience hasn't helped. The experienced players are the ones mainly that have let us down towards the end. Thomas Partey's let us down. Jesus has been terrible in my opinion. Zinchenko's not been great. And there are most kind of experienced players. Xhaka's been okay, but he's never going to be a kind of player that's he's not really going to drag you through a whole game, you know, like a Gerrard might have done, or a Vieira, or a Keane, or a De Bruyne for City, or a Salah for Liverpool. You know, Xhaka's not like any like that. So yeah, it's what can you do really? Probably wrap it up there. I'm going to try and get back and doing some more videos next week. Start looking back on the rest of the season, what happens going forward. A lot of rumours going around about players, so I'll probably do a special one just kind of breaking down what might be happening with who and what I'd like to see happen, etc. So it feels like my back's about to catch fire, so I should probably attend to that. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.